Hey, hello, here's Andreas from eSurfer. We are a reseller for different eFoil brands. But today we want to talk not about only eFoils, but also about wing foils and foils behind the boat. Together with our partner Foil Solutions from Hawaii, they developed this retractable leash, and we are the exclusive distributor for Europe. And today I want to show you how this works. It's really a good solution for eFoils and also for wing foils. So we have a belt for your ankle or your leg or for your waist. For the waist it has the advantage for wing foilers that it also has a harness hook. So you have both a harness and a retractable leash. But we are now going on with the eFoils. We have a separate video about wing foils because the use cases are a little bit different. But let's continue now with the eFoils. Let's start with the question, why would you need a leash, or do you need a leash at all? Well, here at our area it's very calm water and we would not need a leash. And actually I would say please don't need a leash because it makes no sense. It would be just in your way. Yeah, you can easily actually get your eFoil, and the Aerofoils has even a reverse gear so you can bring it back, so you will be fine. However, I had it 2 times already that we had such strong winds, one time at Lake Garda in Italy and one at the Baltic Sea, that I was not able to catch the board. The wind was just too strong. Luckily, when I was in the Baltic Sea, the wind went towards the beach, so I could pick up the eFoil like 1 kilometer away. So in this case, I wished I would have a leash. So how do you connect it to the board? The Audi competition actually has something here to connect the leash, which is very comfortable. Liftfoils and Fliteboard don't have this function. However, there's a solution for it, which I will explain later in this video. What I would not recommend is that you connect the leash to the handle, because if you push sidewards, the eFoil will be like an anchor. It will pull your leg like hell, especially if you are using a traditional leash like this. Our solution at least has some shock absorption cord, yeah? But I would not recommend to put it here in the handle. How to do it with Liftfoils and Fliteboard, again, I will show a little bit later. But how do you connect it to yourself? So we have 2 options. One is for your leg, or the ankle, and the other one is for your waist. Which one you prefer, it's individual taste. This is sometimes on your leg or ankle sometimes easier to get on the board because you have a little bit more room. For if it's on your waist, then it's a little bit shorter, and sometimes you don't know if you should go left from the leg or right from the leg. But on the other hand, the waist solution, which I prefer, you have really no drag, because if this is here on your waist, yeah, you will not have any contact with water. If it's here on the leg, you know, you may have a little bit contact. But still, this is not dramatic, not like the traditional leash, which is like 3 meters long and dragging into the water. Now if I've connected a traditional surf leash to the Audi e-tron foil. This one is only 2 meters. It should be actually 3 meters or 10 feet long, because otherwise you might be too close to the foil. But imagine if this would be not 2 or 3 meters, it would really drag in the water even while you are flying. Now in comparison, our retractable leash, currently using the leg cuff, this one has a shorter shock cord, so you can see it is not in the water at all, even if I'm on the surface. If I'm using the waist belt, I have a longer shock cord. I can connect this easily, and you can see even here no contact to the water at all. A few more words about this solution. Of course, this is open here, so salt water can get inside. This is why it has another opening here, so that especially after salt water use, you can flush it with fresh water. And in addition, since you want to be happy with this device for years, actually you can open this screw and actually put oil into the coil. So all in all, a very good solution in my opinion, which will hold for a while. We have a very comfortable solution for the Audi competition model because it has a function to connect the leash at the back of the board. The same is true for the new Lift X. But what are we doing with other boards like Lift 1 to Lift 4 and different Fliteboard version, or also from Audi the Adventure and Performance board? Well, we have different kits. There's a special kit for eFoils because the way the mast is mounted is a little bit different. It's not even. But if it is even, we have a kind of universal kit which works for Fliteboard, Aerofoils, Adventure and Performance, and potentially other brands as well. So this is the leash tie for eFoils. You have two longer screws which will replace these shorter screws. You have the tie itself and something which you put underneath to protect your mast plate. The first thing is that you lose the two screws on the back of the mast, and as you can see they are much shorter than the new ones. So now we are connecting the leash tie for eFoils. You have this protection here which you put underneath. Then you take the longer screws, you pull a little bit, and then you basically screw on the screws again. And now you have a leash tie for your leash, which you can use for our retractable leash, or even if you want to tow somebody. Before we install this leash kit for Fliteboard, it's maybe interesting to see the difference. You see these are slimmer than the ones for eFoils. The band is longer, just because the position is different on the Fliteboard, and you see the screws are longer than for this kit and have a different size. Now let's connect the leash tie for Fliteboard. You lose, like with eFoils, the two screws at the back of your mast plate. So you can see now that the new screws are longer. You take the protection, put it underneath, and just take the longer screws and mount it together. So now you have a leash tie for your Fliteboard, and you can connect our retractable leash or another leash maybe to tow somebody. Now we have an Aerofoils Audi board here. In this case it's a competition. It has a leash holder here already connected. However, the performance model and the adventure model do not have such a leash holder. And in this case you just use the Fliteboard leash tie and remove again the screws at the back of the mast plate. Now you take the protection again. Use the longer screws, which is part of the tie kit, and screw it together. Now you have your leash tie connected to an Aerofoils Audi board, which means you can also use it with the performance model and the adventure, and I guess it will be similar with other eFoil brands as well. I hope this video about the retractable leash was helpful. I think it's an awesome solution for wing foils, but also for eFoils in special situations with a lot of wind and waves and so on. In Europe you can purchase these directly on eSurfboards.com, and for the US and Asia please visit eFoilsolutions.com. I see you.